Welcome back. This channel exists because of your support. Subscribe, hit like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Now let's get into the story. It was Tuesday evening, around 7:45, when Rachel came through the door with that particular energy. I was sitting at our kitchen table, laptop open, debugging an authentication protocol that had been giving me trouble all day. Cold pizza sat next to my keyboard, half-eaten slices that had been better 3 hours ago. An open beer bottle sat sweating on a coaster beside my notes. She set her purse on the counter with deliberate force. Not quite a slam, but enough to make me look up. I recognized that move. It meant she'd been drinking just enough wine to feel brave, and she'd been talking to people who'd convinced her of something. We need to have a serious conversation about where this marriage is going. I saved my work and closed the laptop. She'd been at Tuesday wine night with Melanie, Holly, and Trish. The divorced trinity, as I'd started thinking of them. Every week, they got together and reinforced each other's narratives about how terrible men were and how they'd all settled for less than they deserved. Okay, I said. What's on your mind? Rachel crossed her arms, standing across the table from me. She was wearing her work clothes still, the blazer she thought made her look authoritative. I feel invisible in this marriage. Like you just go through the motions. You don't even notice when other men pay attention to me. What men specifically? That's not the point. It seems like the point if you're bringing it up. She hesitated, then committed. Dylan, the new sales rep at Farmerbridge. He actually sees me. He makes me feel wanted. Maybe I have options I haven't explored. Maybe I should. I leaned back in my chair, watching her watch me. She was waiting for panic, for jealousy, for me to jump up and promise to be better. That's what her script called for. I could see it in her eyes. Then explore it, I said. See where it goes. Her mouth opened slightly. What? You heard me. If you think flirting with a sales rep will help you figure out what you want, you should do it. You're supposed to fight for me. I picked up my beer, took a sip. Why would I fight to keep someone who's already auditioning my replacement? That's not. She faltered. A real husband would care. Would show some emotion. I care enough to let you make your own choices. If you want to see what else is out there, I'm not going to stop you. You're unbelievable. She grabbed her purse and walked toward our bedroom, footsteps heavy on the hardwood. I opened my laptop and went back to debugging. The protocol issues suddenly seemed simpler than whatever game Rachel had decided to play. The next morning, Wednesday, she emerged from the bedroom dressed more carefully than usual. Makeup heavier, outfit more fitted. She was committing to whatever plan her friends had sold her on. I was making coffee when she came into the kitchen. Want some? I asked. She ignored the question, checking her phone instead. Dylan invited me to lunch today. Nice. That new Vietnamese place opened in Boston. You should try it. Her jaw tightened. That's all you have to say? Have a good day at Farmerbridge. She left without another word, door closing just a bit too hard behind her. I finished my coffee and pulled out my phone. Our grad school group chat had been quiet for a while. I scrolled through old messages. We'd all scattered after graduation. Some to New York, some to California. I'd stayed in the DC area for the defense contractor work. I typed out a message. Anyone around Arlington? Could use a coffee catch-up. Jennifer Walsh responded within 5 minutes. I'm actually in DC now, running security firm. Free Friday. I stared at that message for a moment. Jennifer. We'd been study partners in our graduate cryptography seminar. She'd been brilliant then, probably even sharper now. I typed back. Friday works. Northside Social in Clarendon? 6. Perfect. See you then. I set down my phone and returned to my work. Something had shifted. Rachel wanted to test whether I'd fight for her. I just decided I wouldn't. Wednesday evening, Rachel came home with calculated casualness. Dylan complimented my presentation today. Said I have a real gift for explaining complex concepts. I was reading through security documentation. You are good at presentations. That's it. What else would there be? Thursday, she mentioned that Dylan offered to help her study for her HR certification exam. I told her free tutoring was convenient. Friday morning, she announced Dylan had invited her to happy hour at Whitlow's with the sales team. Sounds fun, I said. I'm meeting an old friend for coffee anyway. Which friend? Jennifer Walsh. We were in grad school together. She's got a cybersecurity firm now. Rachel barely paused. She didn't remember Jennifer well enough to see any threat there. Fine. Whatever. She left for her happy hour wearing a new dress I'd never seen before. I changed into jeans and a button-down and drove to Clarendon. Jennifer was already at Northside Social when I arrived. She was sitting at a corner table, laptop open, wearing a blazer and jeans. She looked up when I walked in, smiled, stood to hug me. Andrew Mitchell, still debugging the world's problems? Trying to. You look successful. I'm getting there. She gestured to the chair across from her. Sit. Tell me everything. We ordered coffee. The conversation came easily, like hardly any time had passed. She told me about founding Walsh Digital Security 3 years ago, how she'd built it from nothing to a firm with actual Pentagon contracts. Wait, I said. Pentagon. She pulled out her phone, showed me a Forbes article. Got some press for it. The headline read, Rising Cybersecurity Entrepreneurs to Watch. Jennifer's photo showed her in her office, confident and professional. I read the first paragraph. It detailed her work on cyber warfare tactics, her published book, her consulting work with government agencies. This is impressive. It's been a lot of work. She put her phone away. But I love it. What about you? Still at Titan Defense? Yeah. Software architect. Good work, nothing groundbreaking. You were always too modest. I remember your debugging methodology. Best in our cohort. We talked for 2 hours, until the coffee shop staff started stacking chairs. The conversation ranged from work to life changes to why her engagement had ended 6 months ago. You wanted me to scale back, Jennifer said as we walked to our cars. Turn down clients so we could have normal dinners. As if my career was a hobby I could just dial down. Someone intimidated by your success. Exactly. She unlocked her car. This was good. We should do it again. Agreed. Same time next week? I'll be here. I drove home thinking about the contrast. Rachel was out testing whether I'd get jealous over some sales guy who probably told every woman she was special. Jennifer had spent our evening talking about building something real, about ambition and strategy and not dimming her light for anyone. Rachel was already home when I got there, sitting on the couch scrolling through her phone. She looked up. How was coffee? Good. Jennifer's firm is really taking off. Great. She returned to her phone, clearly uninterested. I went to bed thinking about authentication protocols and professional advancement and what it meant to actually value someone's capabilities. Saturday morning, Rachel was unusually quiet. I spent most of the day in my home office building a custom mechanical keyboard, a hobby that required patience and precision. Around 2, Rachel appeared in the doorway. Don't you want to know how last night went? I looked up from placing switches. If you want to tell me, I'm listening. She sat on the edge of my desk. It was fun. Dylan's really charming. He paid for all my drinks. Generous of him. And he texted me good night. Called me amazing. That's nice. Her frustration was visible now. That's all you have to say? What would you like me to say? A normal husband would be upset. I thought you wanted me to let you explore your options. She stood abruptly and left the room. I returned to my keyboard switches, pressing each one in carefully, testing the resistance. Sunday afternoon, Rachel's friends came over. I was at the climbing gym, so I didn't witness their strategy session, but I could imagine it. Melanie would be leading the charge, Holly reinforcing, Trish adding paranoid theories. All 3 of them trying to convince Rachel that her plan was working, that she just needed to push harder. When I got home, they scattered like startled birds. Rachel stayed on the couch, looking determined. I'm having lunch with Dylan Monday. Just the 2 of us. Okay. And I'm meeting Jennifer for dinner Tuesday. There's a cybersecurity conference mixer. Rachel's expression shifted slightly. Dinner is different than coffee. She suggested it. Good networking opportunity. Right? Networking. But I could see the first seed of doubt. The following Monday, while Rachel was at her lunch with Dylan at Liberty Tavern, I was at work doing what I'd done for 5 years. Writing code, attending meetings, going through the motions. My phone buzzed around 3. Jennifer. Reminder about tomorrow. The observatory in Georgetown, 7:30. Looking forward to it. Tuesday evening, I put on my best suit. Rachel noticed. That's a lot of effort for networking. First impressions matter. The observatory was upscale, a rooftop bar with views of Georgetown. Jennifer was already there, talking to a group of people in business attire. She saw me, waved me over. Andrew, meet Colonel Patricia Henderson, Pentagon Procurement. Patricia, this is Andrew Mitchell, the software architect I mentioned. We shook hands. The colonel had the firm grip of someone used to being taken seriously. Jennifer says you designed the authentication protocol for Titan's new defense system. I was part of the team. Don't undersell yourself, Jennifer said. He led the design. The colonel pulled out a business card. We're looking for someone with exactly that skill set for a contractor evaluation role. 140,000 starting, full benefits, real advancement potential. Reach out if you're interested. I took the card, feeling something shift. I'll definitely consider it. The evening continued with more introductions, more conversations about capabilities and strategies. Later, when we sat down for dinner, Jennifer was direct as always. You undersell yourself constantly. You're legitimately brilliant at this. I'm competent. You're more than competent. And you know it. So why pretend otherwise? I considered the question. Maybe I've gotten used to being just enough. For what? For someone who doesn't actually value excellence. Jennifer leaned back, studying me. Your wife. My wife is currently having lunch with a sales rep to make me jealous. Is it working? No. Good. People who test whether you'll fight for them never stop testing. She paused. My ex-fiancé used to do similar things. Not flirting, but he'd make comments about whether I really needed to work so much. Whether I valued my career more than him. Constant tests disguised as concerns. What did you do? Ended the engagement. Decided I'd rather be alone than with someone who wanted me smaller. We talked until midnight. When I got home, Rachel was waiting up. How was networking? Productive. Got offered a new position. Pentagon contractor. Significant raise. Her eyes widened slightly. When did this happen? Tonight. Jennifer introduced me to the right people. That's great. But she sounded uncertain. Wednesday, Rachel came home with another strategic update. Dylan had texted her, said he couldn't stop thinking about their lunch. He's interested then, I said. How would you feel if I went further with this? I'd feel like you've made a choice. That's it. No fight. You're testing me. I don't take tests. I make decisions. She stared at me for a long moment, then retreated to our bedroom. I heard her on the phone with someone, probably Melanie, voice urgent, but too quiet to make out words. The following Thursday, everything changed. Rachel had an HR conference in Georgetown. She texted me around 12:30. Taking early lunch. Walking around Georgetown. I was at the observatory for a lunch meeting with Jennifer, going over the Pentagon role details, when Rachel walked past on the street below. I didn't see her, but she saw me. She saw me through the glass wall of the rooftop bar, sitting with Jennifer. Saw Jennifer laugh at something I said, touch my shoulder briefly, natural and easy. Saw me more animated than I'd been in months, leaning forward, engaged in conversation. She told me later that she'd ducked into a coffee shop and spent 20 minutes searching for information about Jennifer Walsh. That evening, Rachel was different. Quieter, more cautious. She kept glancing at me like she was recalculating something. How was your day? I asked. Fine. Conference was boring. She paused. I saw you today. At lunch. In Georgetown. Oh, I didn't see you. You were with Jennifer. At the observatory. Yeah, we were discussing the job offer. She's been helpful with the decision process. Rachel bit her lip. She seems very helpful. She's knowledgeable about the industry. Is that all she is? I looked at Rachel directly. Right now? Yes. But you're the one who encouraged exploring options. She had no response to that. Friday morning, Rachel spent an extra hour getting ready. When she came downstairs, she was dressed like she was going to a client pitch instead of a normal workday. Big meeting? I asked. Meeting with Dylan again. He wants to discuss this training position he mentioned. Training position? He thinks I should apply to be a corporate trainer. Said he'd recommend me. It was the first I'd heard of any training position. That's kind of him. Yeah. He sees my potential. She grabbed her bag. What are you doing today? Having lunch with Jennifer again. Rachel's jaw tightened. Again? That's twice this week. She's helping me evaluate the Pentagon opportunity. Free consulting from an expert. What opportunity? You never mentioned details. 140,000, contractor evaluation role, reporting directly to Pentagon procurement. Jennifer connected me with the right people. Rachel went pale. 140,000. Plus benefits and advancement track. She stood frozen for a moment, then left without another word. That evening, Rachel called an emergency session with her friends. I wasn't invited, obviously, but later I'd learn what happened. She'd shown them everything. Forbes articles about Jennifer. Walsh Digital Security's website with its impressive client list. Jennifer's LinkedIn with 3,500 connections and recommendations from Pentagon officials. Her published book on cybersecurity with 4.5 stars on Amazon. According to Rachel, Melanie had tried to downplay it, insisting Jennifer probably wasn't interested in me that way. Holly had questioned why someone so successful would want a defense contractor. But Rachel had defended me, told them I was brilliant, that they'd all forgotten. When Trish suggested she needed to make me choose, Rachel had finally asked the question that had been haunting her. What if I chose Jennifer? None of them had an answer for that. Meanwhile, Jennifer and I were having dinner at a casual place in Clarendon. We'd moved past professional discussion into more personal territory. Your wife okay with us meeting this often? Jennifer asked. She's been exploring her options with a coworker. I'm apparently free to do the same. Jennifer raised an eyebrow. That's unusually mature. Or unusually over. Are you looking for this to be something? I appreciated her directness. I don't know yet. I'm just enjoying talking to someone who doesn't play games. I appreciate directness too. So here's direct. I like spending time with you. If your marriage is ending, I'm interested. If you're just venting, I'm still happy to be friends. But I need to know where this is heading because I don't do ambiguous. That's refreshingly clear. I spent 2 years with someone who couldn't say what he meant. Never again. Then here's my honest answer. My marriage has been over for a while. I just didn't admit it. Rachel's test made me see that clearly. Where this goes with you, I don't know yet. But I know I want to find out. Jennifer smiled. That works for me. The following Saturday morning, I woke up to the smell of blueberry pancakes. Rachel had made my favorite breakfast, was wearing the shirt I'd once mentioned I liked. She was playing a different strategy now. I was thinking we could spend the day together, like we used to. I sat down at the table. What about Dylan? I think I've been confused. You're what I want. What changed? I realized I was being stupid, listening to bad advice. I continued eating. From Melanie, Holly, and Trish? She froze. How did you know? It was obvious. You came back from wine night with a script. The timing, the phrasing, the whole performance. They just want me to be happy. They want you to be as divorced as they are. That's not fair, isn't it? When was the last time they gave you advice that strengthened our marriage? She had no answer for that. I appreciate the breakfast, but I'm meeting Jennifer at her office today. On a Saturday? She works most Saturdays. It's one of the things I admire about her. Rachel reached out, touched my arm. Please, I'm trying to fix things. I gently pulled back. This feels manipulative. I'm trying to save our marriage. By being who you think I want. Or by being honest about what you actually want. She started crying. Real tears this time, not calculated ones. But I'd seen this pattern before. Panic when control slips away. We've been together 6 years. Married 4. That has to count for something. I stood, bringing my plate to the sink. It counts as history, not as obligation. Monday evening, Rachel tried a different approach. Marriage is supposed to be for better or worse. This is the worse you chose. Testing me, threatening me, comparing me to some sales guy who probably uses the same lines on every woman. But I stopped. I told Dylan we can't have lunch anymore. When? Today. I explained I'm married and need to focus on my relationship. What did he say? He understood. Respected it. Good for him. Shows maturity. So can you stop seeing Jennifer? Why would I? Because I'm asking you to choose us. I looked at her directly. You don't get to threaten divorce for 2 weeks, then demand loyalty. That's different. How? Because I wasn't serious about Dylan. But you're serious about her. That's the problem, isn't it? Your exploration was theater. Mine was real. Tuesday, I came home to candles, homemade lasagna, wine. Rachel had printed old photos of us and spread them on the table. Early dating pictures, wedding photos, vacation snapshots. Look at us. We were happy. We can be again. I looked at the photos. We were. Past tense. Why are you being so cold? I'm being honest. For the first time in weeks, maybe months. What does that mean? It means I've been going through the motions. And your little test made me realize it. She went pale. So this is my fault. The test was yours. The realization was mine. The outcome is ours. Wednesday evening, after another session with her friends, Rachel came home with her final play. I need you to make a choice. Today, her or me. I closed my laptop deliberately. That's your move? Ultimatum? It's not a move. It's reality. You're my husband. You owe me a choice. I don't owe you anything except honesty. Then honestly tell me, are you having an affair? No, but I'm considering what might happen after our marriage ends. After? You've decided? You decided when you started testing me. This is just the results. But I stopped. I chose you. You chose safety after realizing I might actually leave. That's not choosing me. That's choosing the path of least resistance. What do you want me to say? Nothing. I don't want performance. I wanted partnership. Past tense. So you're choosing her. I'm choosing not to be manipulated. Whether that leads to Jennifer or somewhere else is secondary. How can you throw away 4 years? I'm not throwing it away. You spent 2 weeks auditioning my replacement while I accidentally found someone who treats me like an equal instead of a test subject. Thursday, Rachel had a complete breakdown. I came home to find her surrounded by tissues and wine bottles. She'd called Melanie, who'd come over and made everything worse. Your advice ruined my marriage, Rachel told her friend. My advice was to make him appreciate you, Melanie shot back. Well, now he appreciates someone else. Someone actually impressive. Melanie left angry. Rachel texted me. Can we please talk? Really talk? I replied. Tomorrow. But I need to tell you something first. Friday, we met at Northside Social. The same place where I'd reconnected with Jennifer. Rachel arrived first, anxious. I arrived calm, carrying a folder. I wanted to tell you in person. I'm taking the Pentagon contractor position. The one Jennifer connected you to? Yes. 140,000, full benefits, real advancement opportunity. When do you start? 2 weeks. I gave notice yesterday. She processed that. You gave notice before telling me? Because it's my career decision, not a relationship negotiation. Everything is a relationship negotiation when you're married. Except I don't think we are anymore. Not really. Are you leaving me for her? I'm leaving a marriage where I was being tested instead of trusted. Jennifer and I are seeing where things go. Yes. Rachel laughed bitterly. So I hand you to her on a silver platter. You handed me the realization that I deserved better. She just happened to embody what better looks like. What makes her so much better than me? She doesn't play games. She says what she means. She celebrates my success instead of feeling threatened by it. She built something impressive and didn't need someone else to validate it. I could be those things. Could you? Or would you be until your friends convinced you to test me again? Silence stretched between us. What happens now? I'm moving out this weekend. Found a place in Georgetown. Closer to the new job. And closer to her. Yes. Also that. What about the house? Our things? Keep whatever you want. I don't need much. She started crying. I really screwed this up. Yes. But maybe we both needed this. You need to figure out who you are without your friends' voices in your head. I needed to remember I'm worth more than just being tolerated. Does Jennifer know? About the job, the move? She's the one who encouraged me to take it. Said I'd been undervaluing myself for too long. Of course she did. We sat in silence for a few more minutes. Then Rachel stood. I suppose there's nothing I can say to change your mind. You could say you're genuinely happy for me. That you want me to succeed and be fulfilled. That you realize you weren't able to provide that. And if I said that, then you'd be showing growth. And maybe your next relationship won't need testing. My next relationship. She grabbed her bag. Dylan's still single, isn't he? I almost smiled. Sales guy? Yeah, probably. She looked at me with something between shock and grudging respect. You planned this. I didn't plan anything. I just refused to play a game I couldn't win. How did you know you couldn't win? Because the only way to win your game was to become someone I'm not. Someone desperate and insecure and willing to beg for scraps of affection. I decided I'd rather lose the game and keep my self-respect. 3 months later, the divorce was finalized. Rachel had moved to a cheaper apartment in Ballston. Dylan had left Farmerbridge for a position in Chicago. Her friendships with Melanie, Holly, and Trish had cooled significantly. They'd been defensive when she blamed them for the advice. She blamed them anyway. She was in therapy now, working through what her therapist called pattern recognition, trying to understand why she'd needed to test love instead of trust it. What were you actually afraid of? Her therapist asked during one session. That I wasn't enough. That he didn't choose me enthusiastically every day. So you tested whether he would fight for you. And he didn't. He just let me go? Or he refused to fight a battle you created to prove his love. Rachel sat with that. It was a perspective she hadn't considered. She was dating again, meeting men through apps. One guy seemed nice enough, a manager at a consulting firm. He sent good morning texts, remembered details she mentioned. But Rachel found herself constantly analyzing. Was this real or performance? Was he genuinely interested or just good at seeming interested? She'd learned the wrong lesson. Now she distrusted everything. One afternoon, a LinkedIn notification appeared on her phone. Walsh Digital Security wins $5 million government contract. She clicked through. The photo showed Jennifer and Andrew at a signing ceremony. Both in professional attire. Andrew in a suit she'd never seen him wear. He looked different. More confident, less guarded. The smile reached his eyes. Comments congratulated them. Several referred to Andrew as partner. She clicked his profile. Sure enough. Partner, Walsh Digital Security. Rachel stared at the photo for a long time. She opened her message thread with Andrew. She'd never deleted his number, though they hadn't spoken since the divorce was finalized. She typed, saw the news. Congrats on the partnership. She stared at the message for 5 minutes, then deleted it unsent. Another notification appeared the next day. Andrew Mitchell and Dr. Jennifer Walsh announce engagement. The photo showed them at Georgetown waterfront, Jennifer's hand displaying a ring. The ring was modest but elegant, nothing showy. Just like Jennifer herself. Rachel closed LinkedIn. She thought about texting him, decided against it. What would she even say? She opened a text to Melanie instead. He's engaged. Melanie responded quickly. Probably a rebound. Won't last. Rachel knew that wasn't true. She remembered seeing them through the observatory window that Thursday afternoon. The way he'd leaned forward, animated and engaged. The way Jennifer had touched his shoulder, easy and familiar. She typed back. No, I think he found what he was actually looking for. Melanie didn't respond. Rachel sat alone in her apartment, scrolling through old photos on her phone. She stopped at one from their wedding. Both of them smiling, hopeful, young. She wondered when exactly they'd stopped being partners and started being opponents. Realized maybe they never had been partners. Maybe she'd been testing him from the beginning. Do you love me? Are you sure? Prove it. She deleted the photo. Opening her therapy journal, she wrote, I spent so much time testing whether he'd fight for me. I never learned how to choose him without conditions. Meanwhile, in a Georgetown apartment, Andrew was unpacking the last boxes. Jennifer was at the dining table, laptop open, working on a presentation for the Pentagon. Food's here. Jennifer called out. They'd ordered pizza. Andrew noticed it was the same kind Rachel used to order on Tuesday nights. He smiled at the irony. Jennifer saw his expression. What? Nothing. Just thinking. About her. A little. Is that okay? Of course. For years doesn't just evaporate. You process at your pace. Andrew sat next to her. Can I ask you something? Always. Do you ever test me? See if I'll react a certain way? Jennifer looked at him directly. No. If I want to know something, I ask. If something bothers me, I say so. Tests are for people who don't trust their partner to be honest. That's simple. That's simple. Doesn't mean it's easy. Means it's honest. Andrew kissed her forehead. Thank you for being straightforward. Thank you for not needing me to be anything other than myself. They ate dinner, discussing the upcoming Pentagon presentation. Jennifer showed him her slides, asked for input. Andrew suggested improvements. She took notes. Natural collaboration, mutual respect. His phone buzzed. Notification from the lawyer. Divorce finalized. Jennifer saw his face. Everything okay? Yeah, it's done. Officially. How do you feel? Relieved. Ready. For whatever comes next. With someone who chose me without needing proof first. They continued working in comfortable silence. Andrew thought about the path that had led here. Rachel's test had revealed a truth neither of them had wanted to see. Their marriage had been built on her need for validation and his willingness to provide it. Not on partnership. Not on mutual choosing. He'd spent years being enough for someone who needed constant proof. Now he was with someone who believed him without testing. The difference was everything. Jennifer reached over, squeezed his hand. No words needed. Just acknowledgement. Partnership in its simplest form. Andrew squeezed back and returned to the presentation slides. Some tests you pass by refusing to take them. Some relationships you save by letting them end. And sometimes the person who threatens to explore their options reveals exactly what you needed to know all along. that you deserve someone who doesn't make you prove your worth, that you're allowed to walk away from manipulation without guilt, that real partnership feels different from performance. Rachel had wanted him to fight for her. Instead, he'd fought for himself. And in doing so, he'd found something she'd never offered. Choice without conditions. The pizza was better this time. Dear listeners, that's our ending. If it resonated, subscribe to support the channel. See you next time.